Following the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, as part of BDO's Rethink framework designed to support businesses through the many challenges faced, we have been undertaking a monthly survey of 500 business leaders nationally in order to understand their sentiments as the economic position evolves. Based on recent survey data, I'm going to talk a little about some key themes that have emerged that are relevant to businesses in the Yorkshire and North East region. The first statistic that I will consider is that given the increased debt burden amassed as a result of support provided throughout the recent challenges, 40% of respondents say that they will not be able to repay the increased level of debt. There is, however, also some optimism within the majority of respondents to the survey, expecting a pronounced recovery if a successful vaccine rollout programme is delivered. I'm going to explore each of these findings and summarise how BDO is helping support corporates, funders and investors and other stakeholders through these challenging times. The various government support initiatives introduced as part of the economic response to the COVID-19 pandemic have undoubtedly helped many businesses through the challenges to date. There are, however, a number of consequences. In particular, debt levels for many businesses have increased, both in terms of formal debt funding arrangements and other accrued liabilities such as HMRC liabilities or deferred trade and other creditor arrears. It is not surprising, therefore, that our survey respondents have concerns regarding their ability to repay debt levels. We are helping our clients consider the implications of this position. One of the areas we're looking at is debt and funding structures, as well as wider working capital management strategies to help ensure that increased levels of debt and accrued liabilities can be serviced in the medium and longer term. As part of this exercise, there is and will increasingly be a need for businesses to consider the strengths and weaknesses of their balance sheets as part of longer term planning. There are a number of approaches that we're using to provide support in this regard, including consideration of various formal restructuring tools that are available within current legislation, including the recently introduced Corporate Insolvency and Governance Act, designed to support business rescue. In addition, we have had many successes in supporting informal restructures through collective stakeholder agreements. Another area where we can support businesses is through the consideration of operating models and processes. We have worked with many businesses across a range of sectors to consider ways of improving operational efficiency and, most importantly, ways to improve profitability and cash generation. Given the increased level of debt, it is as important as ever for corporates to ensure that they are maximising their profitability and cash generation to help support them through a recovery phase. This will be equally important for funders and other stakeholders when considering areas such as debt serviceability and underlying business valuation levels for lenders and shareholders alike. There are certainly lots to consider in this regard, and we welcome any conversations as to how we can help support. Notwithstanding some concerns regarding COVID-19 variants, the UK appears to have started its vaccine rollout programme positively in 2021. Given that savings levels are estimated to increase in excess of 100 billion since the start of the pandemic as a result of the restrictions, with sectors such as hospitality, leisure and travel, alongside the associated supply chain, having been acutely affected. It is understandable why many economic commentators are predicting a spending spree on the back of a successful vaccination rollout and associated reductions in current restrictions. Whilst it is early days, such a scenario will be a welcome boost for most of the population and indeed many businesses who have battled through some challenging times. Whilst this is undoubtedly positive, there are some pitfalls associated with growth and recovery that should be considered by both corporates and funders alike. As I mentioned previously, there are many businesses that will have faced increased cash pressure since the onset of the pandemic, particularly in certain hard-hit sectors, resulting in cash and liquidity levels depleting. Furthermore, there's an increased likelihood of increased debt service levels and a backlog of accrued liabilities impacting cash flow. Against this backdrop, it is important to consider that a growth phase can often absorb cash, dependent of course on the working capital cycles within a particular business. Consequently, it is not uncommon, unfortunately, for businesses to face solvency challenges on the back of growth, particularly when it is rapid growth, as may be the case for certain sectors over the course of this year. We have extensive experience in helping support businesses navigate these challenges through considering working capital cycles, funding levels, and ensuring liquidity is robustly controlled and managed. Consideration of this position ahead of any future growth will be hugely beneficial, ensuring that businesses are appropriately prepared to capitalise on economic recovery and growth opportunities throughout 2021. Whilst there remains uncertainty, I, like many others, are hopeful that we'll see economic growth throughout the year. In anticipation of this scenario, it is important that businesses, funders and other stakeholders are fully prepared both operationally and financially to capitalise on economic recovery and associated growth opportunities. Please do contact me or indeed any of the team at BDO if you require any further support with the areas that I've discussed.